Now, as we have all celebrated, most of the ODM party members have celebrated the pact between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. And also the Kenya Kwanza people and the Kenya Kwanza administration and members of parliament have been celebrating the alliance between William Ruto and Raila Odinga. We all shouldn't forget the fact that the government of William Ruto is left with 2.5 years to serve the people of the Republic of Kenya. Now, the question is, will these pact work? Now, for me to really exonerate my point in this video, allow me to take you back to the different handshakes that Raila Odinga has had. And what time did Raila Odinga have these handshakes? And why did those presidents consider those handshakes at that certain time? Now, back in the year 1992, the multipartyism was introduced. There was the Ford Kenya, there was the birth of Ford Asili, and there was the DAP, Democratic Party of Kenya, and there was the KANU. Now, KANU was President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's party, and it was vying for presidency. And we all know that is the party that won the election. Now, Kenneth Matiba, together with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, broke up where we had the Ford Kenya led by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Kenneth Matiba and Martin Shikuku led the Ford Asili. Mwai Kibaki led the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party of Kenya. That was the DP party. Now, Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga, if they had stayed together, they would have won the election and removed Moi out of power. But both of them had their interest. And when the election was done in 1992, Moi won. Matiba became number 2. Mwai Kibaki became number 3, while Jaramogi Oginga Odinga became number 4. I mean, many say that that is what led to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's early death, because he didn't believe, with all the fight that he had put to make sure that Kenya had gotten multipartyism, then it would become that he was number 4 or the last one in that election. Are we together? After that election, we came in the year 1997. In 1997, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's son, Raila Odinga, ran for the presidency for the first time. And that time he lost. Now, Raila Odinga, that is when now he started forging his path towards the presidency. And he became a very, very, very aggressive politician in the politics of the Republic of Kenya. And his ambitions for the presidency seat became so aggressive. And Moi fought Raila Odinga left, right, and center. Raila Odinga could escape out of the country several times trying to hide. But in the year 1999, when Raila Odinga returned in the country from Germany, he began conversations with Daniel Arap Moi. And in the year 2000, Raila Odinga was absorbed secretly into Moi's government. And in the year 2001, Raila Odinga was inside Moi's government, and that was the official first handshake between Raila Odinga and Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. The reason why Moi absorbed Raila Odinga is because Moi knew he was exiting politics, and he needed people to back his KANU party to remain in power and for him to have influence over the next coming government. But when it came to pick a candidate for the presidency, he failed to pick Raila Odinga. Yet we all know then Raila Odinga had the highest influence to become the next KANU presidential candidate. But Moi went for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Are we together until there? Now, that was the time that Moi was exiting, and that is when he absorbed Raila Odinga into the government. But Raila Odinga, in the year 2002, he deviated. He came out of Moi's government together with his soldiers and his battalion, and decided to back the then NARC coalition that had swept the country off its feet. And that coalition was the coalition of Mwai Kibaki, Kijana wa Malwa, Martha Karua, and Charity Kalukingilu. And Raila Amolo Odinga said Mwai Kibaki tosha. So they formed the government in the year 2002. Now, from the year 2002, in the year 2005, Raila Amolo Odinga fell off with Mwai Kibaki. They started having differences and they parted ways, and there was the birth of the Pentagon, where Raila Amolo Odinga went on to form the ODM party in the year 2005. You all know recently is when we were celebrating what? The 20 years of ODM party, the 20th anniversary of ODM party. So Raila Amolo Odinga vied against against Mwai Kibaki in the year 2007. And that election, we all know that was the clear election that Raila Amolo Odinga won, and his uh, win was stolen from him. And there came the post-election violence of the year 2007, which proceeded to the year 2008. And in the year 2008, there came the mediation of Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan mediated, and he told Raila Amolo Odinga, you have two options. Both of you, Mwai Kibaki and Raila Amolo Odinga, because the people of Kenya have died fighting for both of you. It's either Raila accepts and Kibaki you accept that we go back to elections, or we have a coalition government that will see Raila Amolo Odinga become the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, and you, Mwai Kibaki, will continue holding the position of the President with Kalonzo Musyoka as the Vice President, because Kalonzo through Mudama, although he had lost the election and he was number 3 in the 2007 general election, he came in through the back door and joined Mwai Kibaki, and Mwai Kibaki made him his vice president. So together, Raila Amolo Odinga decided that, you know what, there is no need for going back to the election. Let's have an handshake, because I know, according to the Kenyan constitution, then Mwai Kibaki will be walking out of the government in the year 2013 after his election in the year the year 2007. Are we together? So Mwai Kibaki walked out. That was the last term that Mwai Kibaki was in government. That is when he accepted the coalition government between him and Raila Amolo Odinga. Come to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The government of Uhuru and William Ruto won in the year 2013. They proceeded to win in the year 2017. And in the year 2018, Raila Amolo Odinga, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta called Raila Amolo Odinga after the demonstrations that were going on. They negotiated and had an handshake in 2017. In 2018. And that was the third coalition government of Raila Amolo Odinga. Are we together? Now, mistake that William Ruto has done. He is in his first term and he has accepted an handshake with Raila Amolo Odinga, knowing that this is his first term. You know, if it was his last term, then we could be speaking a different language. But currently, we know this is the first term of William Ruto. He needs to vie for the year 2027 so that he will either win or lose. But he expect Raila Amolo Odinga to really endorse and support his ambitions come the year 2027. But we all know that Raila Amolo Odinga is a man that does not always have one card when he enters in the government. And Raila Amolo Odinga, there is no way in a history he will accept his uh, legacy to be tainted with him being, when William Ruto runs, he decides to pick Raila Amolo Odinga for as his running mate. No, Raila Amolo Odinga's portfolio and catalogue of politics speaks volumes. It's a catalogue that cannot be dirtified by him being a running mate for one William Ruto, a kid that Raila Amolo Odinga, has raised in politics of this republic. He can't accept that. Are we together? So there is something that we should expect in the year 2026 and 2027. A new Raila Amolo Odinga will be born out of this government. And there is a high possibility, according to insiders and according to great political analysts that we have in this republic, people that have watched the history of Raila Odinga and the current government that have passed, I mean the previous government that have passed and the current government, that there is no time that Raila Odinga will accept to be second to William Ruto in a presidential ticket. No, that can't be. It's either Raila Odinga steps down and decides that for the first time in the last previous 5 elections, that he is not going to be on the ballot box. And if he is not going to be on the ballot box, and then he will be campaigning for William Ruto. So it's clearly he will be campaigning for somebody to go to State House. And we all know the greatest dream of Raila Amolo Odinga, the enigma of politics, the most decorated politician in the history of this republic, after Kenneth Matiba, after Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, is Raila Amolo Odinga. Are we together in terms of opposition politics? Will Raila Amolo Odinga change the image of his father? Will Raila Amolo Odinga downgrade the ambitions and the dreams that his father had for his Luo people and accept to be second to somebody? Because Jaramogi Oginga Odinga walked out of the government of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta while he was second to somebody, and he did not want to become second to somebody, and he said that the Luo people will be second to nobody. So is this time that history is going to be rewritten again? No, history is not going to be rewritten. And I will quote the words of one Edwin Sifuna. He has always said that don't expect ODM party to endorse William Ruto come the year 2027. And Raila Amolo Odinga put a disclaimer, a very huge disclaimer, during the signing of the said pact. He said, this is not ODM and UDA coalition government, and this is not ODM endorsing William Ruto for the 2027 presidential election. This is us agreeing to work together for the next remaining 2 years that William Ruto will be in power. What will be born after 2027 or after this pact or this agreement expires is something else that we all don't know. Time will tell us. So Raila Amolo Odinga put a disclaimer that William Ruto, come the year 2027, things might change. Are we together? When you look at it in that dimension, you see that Raila Amolo Odinga will be in the ballot papers. And that tells you clearly that Raila Amolo Odinga William Ruto made the greatest mistake of believing that Raila Amolo Odinga will deliver the presidency to him come the year 2027. That won't happen. And you must wait and see. Today is on 8th of March 2025. It's the second day after the signing of the agreement that was signed at the Kenya International Convention Center at KICC. And I tell you, you shall come and revisit this video come the year 2027. You will tell me a different story. For now, I leave it there. History has said that Raila Amolo Odinga, on the most successful handshake that he has done, the handshakes have been successful, and Raila has not disturbed the previous president after the handshakes because those presidents were on their last terms. But for William Ruto, it is his first term. So tell me, how is this going to work? For now, we leave it there. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Kenyan Daily Report, and tell me what you think about our today's analysis. And do you believe that this marriage between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto will last before 2027 or 2026? Leave your comment on the comment section.